ताजा, रसीले और शानदार प्राइम टमेटो केचप, फ्रेश एंड प्योर।
गुरु श्री मधुसूदन साई जी के साथ बातचीत करना, जब मैं रिसर्च करा था मैंने देखा है बहुत सारा इंटरव्यूज नहीं है लेकिन कम है। तो ये हमारा सौभाग्य है आपको मंच पे पाके, और आपके साथ ये बातचीत को मैं आगे बढ़ाना चाहूंगा। मैं टॉपिक पे आऊंगा लेकिन उससे पहले क्यूरोसिटी सबके अंदर है, और क्योंकि आप हमारे साथ हैं तो आपका दृष्टिकोण उसके ऊपर क्या है ये भी हम जानना चाहेंगे। बहुत एक वितर्क अभी चल रहा है सोशल मीडिया पे हो या ऐसे भी हमारे समाज में, कि सच में क्या भगवान है, डॉज गॉड एग्जिस्ट। ये एक बहुत बड़ा वितर्क है इसके ऊपर। और आजकल के जो जेनजीज हैं या फिर जो 2000 के बाद पैदा हुए हैं, 90s में जो लोग थे, वो लोग लॉजिक ढूंढ रहे हैं इसमें। वो लोग विश्वास करने के लिए तैयार हैं लेकिन लॉजिकली सोचते हैं। तो इसके ऊपर आपका क्या विचार है, और क्या आप उन तमाम जो युवक हैं, युवतियां हैं, उनको बोलना चाहेंगे इसके ऊपर?
सभी को नमस्कार, गुड मॉर्निंग टू एवरीवन. Thank you for inviting me to be here to share this wonderful forum. Foresight wonderfully coined something that sees ahead of the times. So I think being here is a pleasure. Thank you, Ms. Jagi, for inviting me, and thank you everybody else, Mitaji and everybody who's here. This question of whether God exists and if he or she or whichever way, how does he or she exist? It's a question that has intrigued mankind from time immemorial. Since the times the sages sat in meditation and communion and tried to find answers, and most of these answers were found by them in a deep state of communion. It was not something that they could write it down in logic and rational, because by definition, if you go to the Upanishads, that is what I preach, by definition it says yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha, which means that where the words become insufficient, nivartante, they return from there, the words return from there, and it's beyond the grasp of the mind. That is God. So by very definition, if you go by science, there has to be a definition to everything. So those who have experienced God, they said it's or he or she is that which cannot be described in words and which cannot be understood by the mind. So very definition, can logic apply to God? Obviously not, because the definition does not permit that. Then how do we experience whether such a thing exists, whether God exists, and what way it exists, or he exists or she exists, whatever be the debate. As the very definition I said, it's an experiential reality. It is not an experiment. It is not something that can be found by the senses empirically like science does. So the very first thing is that you have to start with believing that he or she, in whichever way it exists. Once you believe, then you get the understanding of how to experience that. And faith is the prerequisite. The cornerstone of philosophy is faith. So you don't see it, but you believe in it. And then you start experiencing the presence of that entity whom we call God. While India is quite diverse in terms of types of gods, we call Rama as God, Sri Krishna, Shivaji, Brahma, Vishnu, and goddesses also. A plethora of them, a whole lot of them. So which one is the real God is the question, and how does that fit this definition? The idea is that our scriptures define God as consciousness, prajnanam, Brahma. Brahma is the synonym for Godhood in the purest of its form. Brahma means Brihad, that which is vast, which is all pervasive, which is everywhere. So by definition, God should be all pervasive and everywhere. And that is the true definition according to us. But does it have a nature? If it's all pervasive, then it also gives the idea that it is Sat Chit Ananda is its nature. That experience of Godhood will give you the experience of truth, goodness, and bliss. And this awareness and bliss is the nature of the thing. So now you tell me, who is not capable of experiencing joy? All of us, from animals to the highest philosophers, everybody experiences joys of different quality and different types. So are we experiencing Godhood? Yes, because we are capable of experiencing a kind of joy within our hearts. Two, are we aware of being the experiencers of anything, all the joys and sorrows and everything? Yes, we are. By second definition, it is awareness. So you are aware, I am sitting here, I am aware you are sitting there. The very fundamental idea of awareness is divinity, is what our scriptures say. And is it true at all times? Is it reproducible like a scientific experiment? Yes, it is. When I wake up, I am aware of everything. When I sleep, even though I don't remember I am sleeping, still my awareness does not diminish. I wake up and I remember who I am, even though in sleep I don't. So the very definition of truth, awareness and bliss is the nature of God. Now whoever experiences this is experiencing God in some way. That is how our scriptures would define. So I would appeal to the younger generation not to go by simply the Puranic definition of gods and goddesses who are mostly at war with each other or with the demons, but go into the philosophy of the Godhood. And Godhood is the idea of truth, Godhood is the idea of awareness, and Godhood is the idea of joy. So whoever experiences this through whatever source is in some way, in some measure experiencing God.
तो अपने अपने हिसाब से आप लोग जो एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं उस हिसाब से मुझे लगता है कि आंसर सबके
God
लिए
fits all forms. The God is no particular shape. So yes, it's a shape of all things, as they say.
जी जी
अच्छे टमाटर होंगे पार, दागदार हो गए बाहर, ज्यादा पकने वालों की हो गई हार। ताजा रसीले प्राइम का दावेदार, प्राइम टमेटो केचप, फ्रेश एंड प्योर।